What's up, YouTube? This is Leo with DRIPCalc. So we have 10 days and 18 hours until YieldMax announces YMAX, YMAG, and Ulti distributions or dividends, and that will happen on June 16th. So that will be basically the last day to own these funds to receive the dividends. And since we already know how much YieldMax single fund ETFs are paying, we can make an educated guess of how much YMAX and YMAG are going to pay this month, and so we're going to make our predictions. So with that, just a quick public service announcement, guys. Once again, I'm asking you to subscribe to the channel, help us grow. Smash that like button if you enjoy this kind of content. If you have any questions, suggestions, put them in the comment section below. There is less than 7% of you watching my videos who are subscribers, so help me get that number up. With that, let's begin. Okay, so here are all the dividends for the holdings of YMAX. Okay, I already made a video about how much their single stock funds are paying, and these are the holdings that they have right now. These are the shares outstanding and the shares of each single stock fund that they hold in the YMAX family. Okay, so basically, long story short, they will collect $9,751,000 in dividends, because that's how many shares of each fund they had basically around the announcement. Okay, so right now they have 13,200,000 shares of YMAX, and based on that, we can calculate that their dividend will be 73.87 cents. Okay, however, what happened last month? Let's take a look at last month, and this is important. Basically, this is the number of shares they had when I made the prediction for June, but when the announcement of the dividends happened for YMAX last month, the number of outstanding shares went up by about 27% right here. So 27%. And therefore, while initially I estimated that they'll pay 87.38 cents, they actually ended up paying 73 cents because they had an increase in outstanding shares. And so we have to do the same thing right now. So based on 73.87 cents, let's call it a 15% discount, because the outstanding shares will likely go up by 15%. And so we get 58.87. Okay, so I think they will not pay this little, because it just will look bad. If you can look over here, May distribution was 73 cents, July 73 cents. So they'll probably try to keep it in that range. However, this wasn't a great month for YMAX funds or YieldMax funds. They have collectively collected much less dividend. For example, the big payers, Misty, it went down from $3.03 to $2.33, so that's like a 70-cent reduction. That's a pretty big one. Even the GOAT, the biggest fund, Nvidia or NVDY, where's that bad boy? Right here. So it went down by about 20-30 cents from the previous month. Coney, another huge pair, that went down by 20 cents from the months before, and about almost $1 from May. So basically, they didn't have a good month. Netflix, that thing went down by more than 50%. So overall, they didn't have a great month. And YBit is the only one that stands out, but YBit has a problem. They are sitting basically on like $20 deficit on their no, not 20, $15 deficit on their synthetic position. So whatever, that's not the topic for this conversation. So basically, with 9,750,000 in dividends that they will pay out, let's call it a 10% discount. So we're looking at about 64 cents dividend. So I think just to keep up the appearances, they'll probably pay like 69 cents. But this month will not be as good for YieldMax as it was last couple of months. Okay, now they may pay more, but if people actively jump into this fund, again, like this is what we have right now, 13,200,000. Let's take a look at 20 days ago. 20 days ago, they had 11,800,000 shares. So it went up by 1,400,000. That's more than 10% increase. And then people will start buying in actively at the beginning or right before the dividend. So this number will have to go down. And yeah, that's what's happening. So yeah, my call basically around 64 cents, maybe 67, 68, 69, just to make it look better. And based on those numbers, so let's say the price of YMAX stays the same as it is today. So today, right now, it's trading at $19.84. Okay, and after the dividend payment, it would drop to $19.20. And so the yield on the X date, or the X date is basically like, that's it. You are not collecting dividends if you buy the shares on the X date. If you buy it at the announcement, then you collect the dividend. But after on the X date, the yield, if they in fact pay this amount, the yield will be about 40%. Okay, so there we go. That's my prediction for YMAX. Now let's jump to YMAG. So YMAG only holds the single stock funds of the Magnificent Seven. So that's MZ, which is for Amazon, Apple for Apple, Phoebe for Facebook or Meta, GUI for Google, MSFO, that's Microsoft, NVDY for Nvidia, and Tesla, the original one, for Tesla. Okay, so actually Tesla this month did amazingly well. First of all, they did really well on the covered calls in June, so they paid $1, or are paying $1, and basically $1. And if we look over here, so YMAG is a very interesting fund of funds, because basically these four funds, Apple, Phoebe, well, Phoebe not so much, but Apple, GUI, and MSFO, they're paying very little. Their yield is in the 20% range. If we look over here, let's look at July. So GUI yield is 31%, okay, a little bit above 20. MSFO 21% yield. And what else do we have there? YMAG, MSFO, GUI, Apple. Let's look at Apple, and the Apple yield is 21%. So yeah, they yield very little. And so why I'm going there? Basically, here I added a new column, dividend percentage. So how much each fund contributes to the total YMAG dividend. And you can see combined NVDY and Tesla, they make up more than 50% of the whole distribution for this fund. So these other six funds, MZ, Apple, Phoebe, GUI, and MSFO, they contribute combined less than 50%. And you can see MSFO is like 6.35%, and Apple is 6.42%. So yeah, they're basically the laggards in this family. However, their NAV is more or less stable. They're not decreasing, and they're still paying dividends. And 20 to 30% yield is amazing in by itself. It's amazing, but compared to others like NVDY is yielding like 100%. So let's jump back over here. So these are the dividends for the months of June, and NVDY was yielding 106%. Okay, Misty and Coney are also around 100%. So today, because it's ex-dividend date, so the prices of all these funds basically dropped, and so now Coney is yielding only 98%, and Misty today is yielding 114% because the price of Misty dropped so much. Like it was 28, 29 when I made that video. Now it's 24.5. So the forward yield of Misty is high, but we don't know if they will actually pay this much. So anyway, going back to YMAG, my estimate for YMAG again. So this is the number of shares outstanding they have right now, and if we jump to June file, we can see the number of outstanding shares increased by 24.5%. So once again, I'm going to apply only 10% discount, because if we apply like, maybe actually we can do 15, they're still in that 60 cents range. So they could pay between 62 and 65 cents. If we do a 10% discount, it's 67 cents. And if we do 15% discount, it's 62 cents. So that's the range, 62 to 67 cents. Again, I anticipate, we have 10 days before they actually announce the dividends, and so I anticipate the outstanding shares to go up significantly. Especially people, like they're looking at the drop of Misty, about 15% drop or 20% drop from the announcement date a couple days ago. Like, that's too risky for me. Yeah, it's yielding a lot, but Bitcoin dropped by like 5% yesterday, so I want to just have a more secure, more stable fund, and YMAG is relatively secure and stable. And if we look over here, where's the YMAG? I gotta put this all the way at the bottom, but basically they have returned so far 23% year to date, well, since inception, which was in February. And that's with dividends collected, and also price appreciation, but no DRIP, no dividend reinvestment. And with DRIP, it's 25.5%. And price appreciation alone is 8.5%. So that's very stable and it's growing. So people are happy with YMAG. Even YMAX, it includes all the crappy funds like AIYY and YBit and Zomo. It's like all these funds except for crash, they basically include all these funds in the, so they include all these funds, MRNY, so they're all down, and you know, and so they basically affect the price of YMAX, which is now below the inception price, but still they've paid out pretty decent dividends so far, and total return with DRIP is still sitting at 16% in 5 months, which is very respectable, and forward yield about 44% on YMAX and around 38% on YMAG. And I actually want to take a deep look into how these two funds compare to each other, YMAX and YMAG. So here we have basic metrics: total return from inception about 13%, that's with dividends reinvestment, and that's for YMAX, and YMAG did 25.5% total return with dividends reinvested. Okay, so here are the basic metrics. If you invested $10,000 in the beginning, here are the extra shares you would buy with the dividends, and let's take a look at this chart. It's pretty interesting how much further YMAG is departing from YMAX, but again guys, it is primarily because of NVDY, and this month it's Tesla, and combined they're paying around 52% of the total return of YMAG. So we have 26% versus 13%, so double the return on YMAG. People are buying into that. Here are the dividends. Again, they're growing, kind of stable the last couple of months for YMAX, and I think this month it will actually be lower for both of these funds. Maybe for YMAG they'll keep it around 68 cents just to, like, you know, show that they're doing all right. But overall, these two funds, they're very stable. They have good returns, good yield. So you can see this yield here, 16%, that's TTM yield. And if we go back here, this is forward yield for YMAG, 37.6%, and for YMAX at current price, and given the last month's dividend, it's 44.25% forward yield. But again, since they'll likely have a lower distribution for July, that yield will drop. At the same time, the price of YMAX and YMAG will drop by about the amount of the dividend, so that yield should stay more or less stable. And by the way guys, you can find this countdown clock and all this this total returns for each fund on our website. I'll put a link in the description below, and I'll put it right here on the screen. So another thing, here are the top 3 best performers for YMAX family, and it's NVDY, Coney, and Misty. Still, a couple days ago they were like in 100% total return range. Now Misty dropped a lot today by about 15-20% since like a week ago, and so, like, remember they were like around $30 like a week ago, so now they're $24.65. I bought a few shares today at 24, and actually at some point they were like 23. I was just kind of busy, I didn't catch that one. But yeah, still great returns. And our worst performance, again, Tesla down 25% in the past 12 months. Now these numbers are for the past 12 months, not since inception. Okay, so even though Tesla has been going up and Tesla is kicking butt, they're still down 25% with dividends collected but not reinvested. If you reinvested dividends in the past year, it would be slightly different picture. Actually, we can see right here, Tesla right here with dividends reinvested. You're actually down even more than if you just kept the dividends. And the share price in the last 12 months is down 54%. So that's terrible. But I think the Tesla will go up. I mean, they're having a really good bull run right now, so I think Tesla will improve. Anyway, guys, people who want stability with high yield, they will go into YMAG and YMAX, and that's why we see these huge increases in the outstanding shares, like 25.5% for YMAG. That's last month between my estimate video and the actual announcement. 25% increase in shares outstanding. That's amazing. In like just 10 days, that's pretty huge. Okay, and again, YMAX was 27% increase in shares outstanding between my video or my estimate and the actual announcement. So yeah, okay, and now like I've added this simulator right here. So let's say YMAG, this is YMAG. Well, let's say YMAG price will be 26.61 on the announcement date, or on the X date it will drop approximately by the amount of dividend, and so that would put it at around $21, and then the X day dividend yield would be around 35%, which is very respectable. Not as high as, you know, Coney, NVDY, or Misty, but you know, it's much more stable than those funds. All right, guys, so thank you for watching. again, we have this dividend countdown clock. It just keeps on clocking, and we have 10 days, 18 hours. So check back, and I might make I probably will make another video just a couple days, maybe a day before declaration, just to have a more accurate estimate, because by then we will know the actual or much more accurate amount of outstanding shares, which is important in making these estimates. Okay guys, so thanks for watching. Again, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.